Before I give this talk, I want to be perfectly clear that I intend, let's understand, I intend to give this talk. I've been telling my 2220 students this whole semester that we really don't care if they learn any physics. And the reason we don't care if you learn any physics is because it's all about the process of physics. If you can understand how to draw a picture that engages your brain and forces the physics to just fall in. So I'm going to go through my process of how I solve problems. I'm going to model this, the best research we know, and that's the stuff that's done by Adam Johnson, in education research, is to model the behavior that you would like your students to perform. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to talk about my process. So we do this, first step one is we draw a picture. And for example, we're going to do the famous problem of a cat falling down an inclined plane. And we know that if you have two cats going down an inclined plane and they have different coefficients of static friction, which one falls off the plane first? The one with the smallest mu. So you can see, we're borrowing Schrodinger's cat here, so we know the box is empty. We put the cat on an inclined plane, but we've rotated it so it doesn't look inclined because it makes the math easier. And then we draw a force diagram, and just to explain some of these things, this is tension. We have the Newton force. We have the F force, sometimes multiplied by U. And then we have the force of gravity. Now, there are a couple questions on here that you can do. I'm going to leave most of the rest of this for an exercise for the listener. But anyway, so the first step is to draw a picture. Flowchart your problem. I'm talking to my students. Flowchart your problem. So it's a picture that's like a map that you can project forward into time to solve your problem for you. And the best part is, this is the best part, is that as soon as you've made a flowchart, you can hire someone to solve your problem. Because as all my physics students know, eventually you'll be managers and project managers, and you won't actually have to know any physics, you just need to know how to hire people. So you'll flowchart it out. This is a big picture thing Brad knows all about. Come up with a big idea, and then go ahead and hire people to do it. Or you can just sit around and play golf all the time. Okay, so is astronomy a problem? Yes. We don't even need this. Okay. And the answer, now I said gravity here, but what I really meant was magnetic fields. Because if the answer is magnetic fields, you can just say, throw up your hands, and that's the answer to the problem and the solution, too. Because nobody knows anything about magnetic fields in space, so we just say, oh, it's just magnetic fields. But if it is gravity, then we go through this flowchart, we ask, are we sure? Yes. That worked out fine. Do we know how gravity works? No, we don't. Maybe gravity isn't actually a thing. Maybe gravity is something else that we don't understand, and then we can go back up here and find aliens. And then we just keep looping around. We also make up a bunch of acronyms. My students remember this as, oh boy, a gorilla killed me. Yeah, so, the flowchart, this is important stuff. Now I want to point out, at this point you haven't even picked up a pencil, or in many cases opened your eyes. This is what you do first, before you do anything else. Now we get to see what happens next. But let's understand, we'll look at the next slide. I want to be clear, I do not want to live in America where I don't look at the next slide. Use equations. All equations. In fact, I had a bunch of equations. Just start writing crap down, because seriously, at this point we're just stalling. It's funny because I've actually said that to the people that We're just stalling, giving yourself time for your brain to work. And then one of two things is going to happen. Either your brain will finally engage, and you'll write down the right thing and get the answer, or the test will be over. So we've got a bunch of equations here. If you find two equations, if there's a minus sign, it's probably because Ben Franklin screwed up. All the k's, by the way, are the same. That's the best part about physics, is that there's only one k. So use it in every single equation. It's equal to 1. Very easy to remember. If you don't know what an integral is, it's because you weren't paying attention to calculus. So I'm not going to talk about that. And then remember, if you have a minus sign, just put a plus right above it because it shows you're sophisticated and you've listed all possible solutions. And usually this instructor grading it doesn't really notice. By this point, Brad, you're like, more. Okay. This is a boxed answer which shows no sophisticated students. Circle is so for semester. Finally, step 4, show all your work. And of course, this is an actual copy of student work that I turned into. This is the person who tells you they just did it all in their head. Which is great, because if it's actually true, we should just give you a degree. And then you can go away. But it's usually not true. However, at this point, I'm not going to write this on the board because I think you guys can do that yourself. Okay. And then finally, yes, this is the slide that brought it all together for me as a physicist. When I first saw this slide, I thought, it all makes perfect sense. Right? Just the simple fact that we only need 37 units to describe everything in physics is so powerfully elegant and beautiful. The fact that it's not 38, not 36, I mean, that's amazing. Exactly. Let's count them. 1, 2, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 29, 30, 31. This one's actually a 5. That brings us to 36, and these are a half. But that's just because of the spin flip transition. That makes perfect sense. So when you do this, though, you can check your units. And this is an actual chart that came from NIST. We had t-shirts made of this. This is how we understand all of the units in physics. So with that, I just want to remind you that we don't care if you learn physics. We literally don't, because it's impossible. Nobody knows physics. But if you can learn how to learn physics, then someday there's hope. Thank you very much.
Does this count as part of your equation sheet?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, if you'd like to buy a t-shirt, I'll let you wear this for the exam. $47 plus a $200 shipping and handling fee. And just staple that to your next homework assignment. Yes?
The number of units on this slide is actually exactly the same as the number of ATP molecules made per glucose in the mitochondria. So, wow. Do you think that that's a coincidence?
I didn't even
or is this evidence for God?
I didn't even know that was on campus. I mean, honestly, I thought it was physics, and then everyone else just pushing paper.
Yeah,